Hello, everyone. This is I'm Eccles Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the assistant director of the Oregon Documentary Film Festival. Right now, we're gearing up for our fall 2023 screening, which is going to take place at the Sunshine Mill Winery and Drive-In Theater in the Dalles. And today, we're talking to some of our participating filmmakers. Kyle, Olvera, and Dustin are the creative team behind A Cup of Tea. Thank you guys so much for meeting with me today.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And so, Kyle, you are the director. Dustin, you are the assistant director.
Yeah.
Okay,
That is
cool.
correct.
Well, guys, tell me, what inspired you to make this film?
Well, I had Dustin and I met at work actually, and we kind of bonded over some of the projects that we've done over the past, and always thought it would be really cool to work together on a project. Dustin actually had a friend, or has a friend, Daniel, who's one of the producers on the film, who actually brought the idea to Dustin, who then came to me and was like, "This could be a good first project for us to work on." But it was always just very small at first. We didn't think it would grow into something like the quality that we've portrayed in this story, and
Totally.
I didn't really know what to or how it would come out at first, because I didn't know anything about Jamie. In fact, I didn't really know much about Tai Chi in the first place. So this was kind of a learning experience through producing the film, really. And yeah, I think it was just all started with Daniel coming to Dustin with the idea initially.
Cool. Well, how did it feel? What exactly about this topic it kind of got you to sink your teeth into it? What was the key for you guys to realize that this was like a great starting project?
Dustin, you want to take that?
I guess just kind of like what Kyle said. My buddy Daniel, I've known him since high school, about 15 years, I guess. I feel old. um, so he's always been into martial arts. We actually knew him in high school as the martial arts guy. He used to do assemblies, do all types of martial arts
Oh,
stuff.
awesome.
That's who we knew Daniel as, the martial arts guy. But throughout years, he's always been wanting to like tag an idea, be like, "Hey, I got, why don't you come and do a video sort of thing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll love to. I just didn't know what." So I invited Kyle out, said, "Hey, my buddy, he's really into doing martial arts, Tai Chi. He meets at this park." That's about as much as I knew. I know people got together, did Tai Chi. That's all I really knew. I was like, "Hey, Kyle, let's go check it out." And so we went to Laurelhurst, and I think just talking to people in the group, learning, like, not just learning stories, but like, man, this is actually really interesting hearing that they've been getting together for like 30 years, like longer than I've even known Daniel. Some of these guys have
Totally.
been getting together. So I think the more me and Kyle got there and like talking to people, talking to Jamie, hearing his story a little bit, we actually walked around the park just to get some random footage, and people at the park were asking what we were doing because they saw us with a camera.
Oh,
They
totally.
knew they knew about Jamie, and they're like, "Oh, we know that guy. We've seen him here for years." And we're like, "This guy's like, kind of like a legend
That's
almost
awesome.
at this park." So I think that's kind of what, just hearing people's stories, hearing Jamie, and just has got both of us into thinking like we may have something like kind of interesting, cool here that not a lot of people know about. And so I think we kind of wanted to get this story told because it's a really, Tai Chi in general is just a really cool art form, and I think not a lot of people know exactly what it is. When we tell people, when I say, "Hey, Tai Chi," they're like, "Isn't it kind of martial arts?"
Right.
And like, yeah, in a way, yeah, but it's more to it than that. And I think just being able to share that with people is really fascinating to both of us.
Totally. Well, and it's one thing that's really cool is that when you are interviewing the participants who study under Jamie, they're not just reiterating something, they all have something very distinct to say, how it kind of affects them in a very unique way. But I'm curious, what was it like for you guys to get to know Jamie and kind of start to talk to these people and kind of work your way into this culture that's existed there for so long?
It it definitely took some meetups, I feel. I think I think at first it seemed as all, oh, here comes another bunch of guys trying to make a film, and
Right.
let's see where it comes. But I don't think any of us thought that it would look and feel like it does at the
Okay,
final
totally.
product. And the more we scheduled shoot days, the more we came out there and to actually film and get the narrative going, the more we realized, wow, this is actually this is something. Like, this is really cool. And I think it really came to the point where I was told, actually no, it came to the point where we actually recorded Jamie's interview for the narrative. um, After we had all that taken care of, I think someone came up to us and was like, how did you get Jamie to open up about his life? He's very he's very
Mm.
private. He doesn't share much about his personal life. So at the when we screened it for the first time for all the people who participated and the group members, someone came up to us afterwards and was just like, "Wow, I never knew this about Jamie. He's always really private. How did you get him to open up?" And the question was asked to Jamie, and from what I was told, he said uh, he wants he wants his kids to know what he does.
That's
In
so cool.
Yeah, so he kind of really opened up for this film to leave a legacy, I guess, in a way. And I don't think he felt like he was going to do that at first, but I think our persistence and the fact that we kept coming prepared and showing him work in progress edits and things like that, I think he really kind of opened up to us and started believing in the project as much as we did.
Well, I love that you guys got a great project out of it, and he has this kind of a token of his own legacy for his own sake, which is really nice. What about you, Dustin? How did it feel, kind of getting to know Jamie and the Tai Chi community?
It was very awesome. I don't just kind of like everybody didn't know much about Jamie. I've met him before doing this film. I've been there a few times with my buddy Daniel to practice Tai Chi, and get kind of my butt handed to me, I guess. But same thing. I didn't know much about him. I only did push hands with him a few times before all this, so I didn't know a whole lot about him as at all. And yeah, getting to know him more, his backstory, and it was really cool. But learning about Tai Chi and just like the impact it had on people's lives was really fascinating. Because again, like I'm on the same boat with a lot of people. I didn't know much about Tai Chi, even though I practiced with my buddy a little bit. He would go on, tell me a little bit about it, but I still had very little knowledge. But hearing like people talking about it and then hearing people like what it means to them, how it's impacted their lives was like, wow, this is like actually really cool. I mean, a lot of people that we interviewed, they talk about what the practice of Tai Chi has done for them. Some people talk about how it helps them career wise. How some people talk about how it helps them like, on a mental standpoint. It
Totally.
was really cool just hearing like the different how it affects people's lives. And talking about hearing about how long they've done it. A lot of people have done it for like 20, 30 years. Some
Wow.
people have done it for like maybe a couple of years. It was just cool to see to hear the experience level of people and like what they've learned from it. So overall it's very awesome just to hear like their stories and how the Tai Chi has impacted like their everyday life. And it's been really awesome experience to hear that stuff.
That's so cool, and it is really interesting that while it is a film about Jamie and about this interesting community that gathers in Portland, he keeps coming back to talk about this core philosophy of Tai Chi. And like you said,
Yeah.
we don't know much about it, but it's so interesting to hear him really reiterate and really dive deep on these principles that are maybe a little counterintuitive if you consider it like a martial art. Um, so one thing I'm kind of curious about, this takes place in Portland. It takes place in Laurelhurst Park. It's a park that serves tons of different purposes. It's huge. It's full of distinct communities. I'm curious to what extent is there some locational specificity? Do you think there's something that we should take away from this film in regards to Portland, in regards to the community?
I think in terms of uh, community, that you can find community in very unobvious and maybe very obvious spots. Um, and I think that there's a community in Portland for all of us is very true. I think that's the tagline that I wrote for the film itself. But there's so much hidden community out here, I feel, and it's not hard to look for it. It's all just kind of there. Like, you just go to a park like Laurelhurst, and
Totally.
there's a group practicing Tai Chi every weekend for the last 30 years. And it's all run by this one guy who decided to tell his story on camera for us.
Totally. What about you, Dustin? Any ideas on this?
I think kind of the same thing. Just there's there's a community, for everybody, and I think kind of one of the messages that I think I heard one of them kind of talking about is like Tai Chi is a very not a well known art, I guess. And I think with this film they want to bring the fact that this art's alive and well here in Portland. Like, not a lot of, because that was one of the things I've kind of understood, don't know much what. Sorry, I'm going all over.
Nice.
One of the things I heard about was they say that Tai Chi isn't a well-known thing in general, and I think that's something that they want to kind of get out for, and hoping that this
totally.
kind of reaches out, that it's like hey, this is kind of like a forgotten art in a way. And I think that was something that they want to kind of express. There are people here that practice this kind of thing, get together and share this common art together. So I think it's kind of same thing. Go along with what Kyle said, I guess.
Totally. Well, so you guys have done projects before, but this was your first collaboration, right?
Yep.
Okay. And I mean, the quality is great, the pacing is great, the story is great. But what did you learn from this experience? What insights have you taken on the craft from this?
I've never shot a documentary before, so having more pre-production so that the production days go more smooth and quicker, I think, would be my takeaway for this. I didn't really know how to direct the narrative for the documentary when everybody's kind of doing their own thing. So we more or less built the narrative from the edits, using an outline that Dustin and I wrote up together. And the shots were planned, but a lot of the shots were just, look, we need to get footage of this. Let's get footage of this and then take it back and see what'll work. So there was a lot of guerrilla shooting, I guess, in a way.
Totally. What about you, Dustin?
I'd say kind of the same. I think pre-production wise, because the same thing. First documentary I've ever worked on. I've done mostly short films or longer films. So yeah, same thing. I think getting more a little bit pre-production wise. Because we did try to keep it as organic as possible. We did do some shots that we think, hey, we need this to help our narrative. But I do think a little bit more on the pre-production side, because that was definitely all right, so what exactly do we need? Because like I said, we kind of came in there all right, we'll film them for 2 hours, and then we'll figure it out. Narrative. Totally. But it worked really well. It's not a style I think we would do for every documentary film, but it did work out really well, I think, for this. But yeah, I think a little bit more trying in that regard, I think, for sure.
Totally. And I think that's great advice, especially to independent filmmakers who want to go out there, have an idea, and they want to capture it. It's important to say, slow down a second. Let's just make sure you have things planned. Because really, like you said, on actual shoot day, it's so much smoother and maybe a little bit more fun, even if you can relax and know that all that stuff has been kind of taken care of. And then you can let your camera roam a little bit when you have that security net. But that's great, actionable advice. So what's next for you guys? Are there any more collab projects, any solo projects, anything in the works?
Yeah, actually, Dustin's working on his directorial debut right now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm working on a horror film.
Nice.
That I wrote the script, be directing and all that. Kyle's gonna be the cameraman, or my cinematographer. We got half of it filmed, and we're getting ready to start rehearsals for the second half of it.
Oh, excellent.
So we hopefully will be filming that. Probably won't be debuting until after the new year, because we'll do some post-production things, that sort of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of the next thing. Working on a horror film. I'm super excited about. It's gone pretty well so far, and we have just one big piece, the biggest piece yet to film. And so yeah, really excited for it.
Excellent. Is this going to be a short?
Yeah, it's gonna be a short, but it's gonna be kind of a long short.
Okay, right
I
on. And
guess.
is it at all rooted in Portland? Is there any regional specificity? Curious.
Not
Not really.
particularly. I mean, we're filming it in the area, but it's not like. I mean, I guess the back. Not to give spoilers, there is a little bit Oregon Trail history to the
Okay.
story,
Okay.
if that a little bit.
Well, I love that, and it's cool that you guys already have tons of momentum on this, and we don't have to worry about too long before we see more from you guys, which is great.
Oh yeah.
I'm excited. Hey, do we have a working title for it that we get to know yet, or
Appetite.
have? Okay, I like that. Excellent. Okay. Well, is there anything else you guys would like to add about a cup of tea?
Well, I think this was one of the most fun projects I've worked on. I've never directed a film before, so this was kind of my directorial debut. So seeing kind of the skills that I've built up working on short films as like a gaffer, a lighter, an audio recorder, and post-production editor, being in like the seat of, okay, this is how it's going to look, this is the narrative that we're going to do, and now I'm in charge of getting that done is really cool.
Totally.
I've never entered films into film festivals before, so I kind of took the reins on that as well, and yeah, organized the premiere for everybody as well. So there was just a lot of really cool experiences that I got to be a part of with this film, and I think it's definitely giving me a lot more perspective on how to create more audience members and how to make these films bigger than just putting them on YouTube or Vimeo or something like that.
That's awesome, and it really is important to experience every position, every step of the way. You gain so much insight that way. What about you, Dustin? Anything to add about a cup of tea?
I have to agree. It was definitely one of the best projects I've been a part of. It was really fun to do. Just getting to talk with everybody, hear their story, and share their story was really awesome. Awesome to be part of. This was actually the first time I did a lot of the cinematography. That was the first time
Okay.
I've tackled that on my.
Awesome.
So that was I have an acting background. I did theater in high school and did a lot of acting. So to be able to be behind a camera for the first time was at first nerve-wracking, but it built over time. It's a lot of fun.
Totally.
So overall, like it was definitely a fun project. I'm really excited to see where this film goes. This is the first film I've been a part of that's been in a film festival. So I'm really excited to see how far this can go. But yeah, it was definitely overall a very awesome experience.
We
Excellent.
also
Well, oh yes, continue.
we also entered the film into the Portland Film Festival, and we are
Okay.
waiting to hear back from those results now.
Oh, awesome. Well, best of luck in the film festival run. I know people are going to love it at the Oregon Documentary Film Festival on October 7th. We're going to be showing in the Dalles Sunshine Mill Winery on an outdoor drive-in screen, which I think is going to be quite the experience. And it's cool because, we are going to have quite a few local audience members. And who knows, you might walk by Laurelhurst one day and see them out there doing Tai Chi after being inspired by this. Anyway, thank you guys so much for talking with me today. And I'm looking forward to seeing your next film.
You're very welcome. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for letting us talk with you today.
Absolutely. Take care, guys.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.